Just want some dang shoes. I just got off of work, which was busy. I wanted to treat myself to a new pair of shoes. I was walking the women's section and found shoes that I wanted. I was searching for my size, and some lady stops me and says, "Since you're clearly watching me, can you at least be useful and find these boots in my size?" I said, "No, ma'am, I don't work here. I actually work at the Walmart across the street." She replied, "Sure, I know you're just trying to catch me stealing, aren't you? Customer service here sucks." She didn't even buy anything. She stormed out while I was at the counter.
Just now at Walmart. So I was sewing new cushions for my RV dining benches when I realized I was a bit short on material. I quickly ran to the nearest Wally World. I went to the fabric station, found my fabric, but there was no employee to cut the fabric and price it. I hit the button, I waited and waited. I hit the button again several times. After literally 20 minutes, I started to roll out my fabric so that when she showed up it was ready for cutting and would expedite this process. But still no one came. So I stood there when two ladies come up to the table with bolts of fabric. "Can you get these really quick? We are in a hurry," they told me. I looked at them and said, "No, honey, I don't work here." "Well, you certainly look awful," they replied. I looked down at my outfit. I was wearing patterned leggings and a pro-marijuana t-shirt and a mask that has a Russian word that means cunt. I started laughing and they got mad, threatened to call a manager. I was about to tell them to hurry up and call cause I was still waiting, but just then the worker showed up.
This is a private residence, not SuperCuts. I was reminded of this story while watching a video on YouTube, where they read a story from this forum about a guy who kept having a lady call his home insisting that he was lying and his home was Domino's. This happened many years ago when there was a SuperCuts in my hometown. Their phone number and ours were almost exactly alike, except their last digit was different from ours. Now ours had the same 3 digits in a row at the end. Think like 333777, etc., while theirs was 2 of the same digits and then a 0. 8330770, you'd get the idea. Which means it was very easy to accidentally dial our number instead of theirs if you were dialing too fast. At the time, answering machines weren't as prevalent as they'd be a few years later, so when I was forced by my parents to answer the phone instead of hello, I used to say, "Our last name residence." That always seemed to get the people who meant to call SuperCuts to realize they dialed the wrong number, and I'd just say, "Oh yeah, theirs ends in a 0, just dial a little slower." They'd thank me and hang up. My mom, for some reason though, still insisted on saying hello instead of answering my way, which meant she often got people trying to make appointments for SuperCuts. Now I'd say 99% of the time they'd accept from her, "Oh, you've got the wrong number, this is our name residence." They apologize and hang up. One time a kid in the army called because he'd been on leave and needed a haircut before he went back. He was very disappointed he called the wrong number. Now Mom happens to be a retired hairstylist and offered to cut his hair for free. Even told him where we lived and how to get there. I can't remember if he showed up or if he decided to just go to SuperCuts instead. But one lady did not get it. She kept calling and calling and calling. Mom was the one who answered, the first time and every time after. The first time the woman angrily hung up. Then she hung up instantly every single time Mom answered the phone and said hello. Finally, after what must have been a good 10 or 15 minutes of calling our house, she yelled at my mom, "Would you stop picking up the phone? I'm trying to call SuperCuts." We got an answering machine not long after, and a couple years later SuperCuts shut down that location, so we stopped getting calls for them. I know, not the most dramatic story compared to some here, but I thought I'd share this old childhood memory. I hope you all have a nice, Karen-free day.
You'll have my job. Okay, this should be interesting. Or noble, yada yada. I am reminded of something that happened to a friend of mine maybe 1 or 2 years ago, after reading another post on which a Karen threatened to have someone's job. I'll tell this story as it was told to me in the first person. So I'm out shopping for a few things, bread, milk, in bags, etc. I remember that I need some ham, so I go to the cooked meats aisle and look for something tempting. As I'm searching for something nice, I hear a voice behind me saying, "Excuse me," in a not at all polite manner. I look over my shoulder and see the local Karen. I acknowledge her and take steps to the side, but don't turn around. I feel a tap on my shoulder, and the same non-polite voice saying, "Excuse me, I'm talking to you. Don't ignore me." I turn around and open my mouth to ask what she wants and why she is being rude. But before I can speak, she starts berating me for being a lazy member of staff and ignoring her. I say, "If you think I work here, you're wrong. I don't." And she says, "You are just being fucking lazy. I have your job." "Really?" I say, badly feigning surprise. "You will have my job." "Yes, I will," she says with a strange mixture of superiority, righteousness, and stupidity. "Okay, suit yourself. You can have it." I waved my hands around in strange shapes and announced, "You are now officially a member of staff." It is said that a picture can speak 1,000 words, but the look on her face at this point just said, "What the fuck?" "But I want you to get things for me. I want." She starts. "Don't ask me. I'm a customer. You should ask a colleague since you work here. In fact, you can help me with what I need." "What? But I don't work here," she gibbers. "Yes, you do. You said you'd have my job, and I gave it to you. Now fuck off and leave me alone." She stomps off, but that wasn't the end of it. Another customer, who's clearly seen the interaction, stopped halfway up the aisle and said, loudly enough for me to hear, "Finally, someone who works here. Can you get that heavy thing off the top shelf?" "I'll fuck off," she exploded, and walked, presumably, out the shop. "Other customer, you absolute legend."
Check out my other wonderful videos.